Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ife and I am a YouTuber, a creator, as I always like to say. It means I am a creator in my essence, online, offline, making videos or not. I like to create things, experiences that people can hear, feel, watch, and be impacted by. In this video, I'm going to be showing some of the things that I wish someone told me the summer before my freshman year. For a bit of a background, I am a rising sophomore at Brown University in the United States. Prior to coming to Brown, I did 2 years of A-levels at the African Leadership Academy in South Africa, and now I finished my first year and I'm going into my second year of university. And without further ado, honestly, let's just jump straight into it because my notes are full. The first thing that I wish someone told me the summer before my freshman year is that I need to at least know or have a sense of my self-worth. And I know that people say this a lot, like when you're coming to college, you're going to meet such a diverse group of people who, come from all walks of life. You've probably heard that before. You're going to meet people who are super smart, people who are super talented at whatever it is, people who, they've done crazy extracurriculars. At least in my case, I remember coming to Brown, imposter syndrome kicked in sooner than I thought. And I think that one of the things I realized is that I wish I had spent time, even if it's something as small as making a voice note to myself, to remind myself of, why I'm deserving to be where I'm at, like, what I've done in the past, all the amazing things I've done, my strengths, my qualities, all of those things. Something as small as a voice note or a video to myself from summer would have gone a long way. And I remember there was a particular day during my first year orientation that I came back to my room after just like being around people, and I'm like, damn, like I just started to feel a little like awkward. And I remember coming back to my room and I made a video for myself there, and I was singing about how amazing I am. I'm so special and I'm so amazing, and I'm just like, there's so much more layers to me, and I know that I'm an amazing person, but for a second I forgot that. And I think that just like that moment, and sometimes I go back to that video and watch it. So something like that honestly can go a long way. I wish someone told me that imposter syndrome would kick in really quickly, and that it would be amazing if I at least have a sense of how valuable, important, amazing that I am before stepping into this very diverse environment. The second thing that I wish someone told me the summer before my freshman year is to have a sense of my primary and my secondary reasons for coming to college.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
I know at this point you're like, Ife, why are you being so serious? But trust me, this is important. And I got to college, I came in with this assumption that, everybody is here for the academics and the grades. But spoiler alert, there are people whose primary motivation for being here is to expand their network. Some people are here because this is only a stepping stone to med school. Some people are here just because their parents make it a compulsory thing. Different people have different priorities. And I think coming to an acknowledgement of your personal primary and secondary reasons is so important. I'm not saying you have to have everything mapped out, and honestly things change over time. You may come to college and say, oh, my primary motivation for coming here is that I want to get opportunities to apply the things I'm learning in STEM. And you come here and you have like a completely different experience, and your life is shifted and your perspective changes. That's okay. But I think doing the work of sitting down before your freshman year to say, like, I want to at least have an orientation of what I want for myself. For me, my primary reason became, I want to not just learn things in class. I want to have an avenue to apply the things that I'm learning. I don't just want to be someone who knows things in their head. I want to know how to apply the things that I'm learning. That is my primary motivation. My secondary motivations are things like opportunities. I want the opportunities. I want to learn about myself. I want to learn how to work with people. I want to make the mistakes. I want the relationships. And I think having a sense of what is primary and secondary also helps you a lot in your decision making. In situations that I've seen, for example, where people's primary motivations override their secondary and their secondary override their primary. A good example, throughout my first year, I spent so much time studying, and I got very little relational experience. And when I came to myself at the end of my first year, I was like, Ife, your primary reason for being here is to learn, but what are your other secondary motivations as well? And so even though this may seem like a very serious thing to do, trust me, it will go a long way. At least this is something I wish I did. The third thing that I wish someone told me the summer before my freshman year is that my friends will come eventually. Now, I want to acknowledge the anxiety that comes with going into a new environment, not knowing everyone. anybody sometimes. There's a lot of anxiety around, this is my first time being far away from home. Will I make friends? Will people like me? Will I find people that, share my values? And honestly, I get that because I experienced it as well. And a typical advice that you will always hear is put yourself out there. Go to the parties, join the clubs, go to the events. And trust me, these things are amazing. But one thing that I don't think people talk about enough is that your closest friends are sometimes in the places that you are already programmed to be in. Your classes. Literally, some of my closest friends today, I've met them in the classes that I've been in. My closest friend, I met her in my biology class. The second friend that is also really close to me, that we were grinding like this during exam for math, I met him in my class. Sometimes you may feel like, I need to really go all out and just go to north, east, southwest looking for these people that will be my, my close friends. Sometimes they are right under your nose. Another thing is that one of the things that at least I observed in my first year of college is that you find that people will latch onto each other so quickly. I will see cliques form like this. I'll say, wait, did you guys know each other from your mother's womb? No. While this is not always the case, I do know that a lot of these things happen because people are scared to be seen alone. Nobody wants to be the girl sitting, by herself at the dining hall. Nobody wants to be the person walking alone to class. Everybody wants to find someone to form cliques with. And I think something to keep in mind, while it is amazing to be open and meet as many people as possible, don't put yourself in situations where you're latching onto people for fear of being alone. People that would drain you rather than fill you up. Another tip that I have is, I wish someone told me that I should not be afraid to be the first person to say hi. Don't be afraid to be the first person to say hi. Especially with the class situation, you're already in the same class. After class, where are you running out?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
The person that's sitting down beside you, or if you see the student that's always asking questions, go and meet them. Be humble. Oh, I'm working on this piece set. Do you understand question 6? Do you want to go over it together? Should we grab lunch? Do you want to talk over lunch? I'm telling you. That's how I met my friends. Guys, I'm telling you, and this is no pressure, but I wish someone told me this coming to college. The fourth thing that I wish someone told me the summer before college is that this is new grounds. And I cannot assume that when I get to this place, this college, this new environment, that I will supernaturally, by some supernatural means, just know how to exist in this space. Now, this is what I mean by new grounds. I mean that for many of us, this is your first time being away from home, your first time having a roommate, your first time having a communal bathroom, your first time working a job, your first time handling classes and a job, your first time handling finances on your own. There are so many firsts, and first time doing college level math. There's so many firsts, and it can be so overwhelming. And I think one of the things I wish I knew or did this summer before my freshman year is not making the assumption that I will figure it out as I go. No. And this is where advice comes in. You need all the advice that you can get. Don't assume that you will just know something that you never learned. You've never learned how to do these things. So ask for advice. And it's as easy as going on YouTube and typing how to study in college. Tools that I need for finance in college. How to navigate communal bathrooms in college. Those things go such a long way. You see that how to study in college one. I wish I watched videos. I did not watch how to study in college. So I spent my first year doing trial and error when there's over 7,000 people on YouTube that have made videos about how to study. Gosh, on TikTok people have made videos, but I never watched them. And so don't be me. Don't assume that you're just magically going to know how to do things you've never done before. No, you won't. You just won't. You just won't. And I don't think it's fair to yourself. And so the summer before college, please make out a list of things that you just know. And these are very universal things. You are not alone in your experience at all. This is new grounds for everybody. But there are people who have walked the walk for you. Not for you, they've walked their own walk, but it's still the same path as your own. So it will be easier for you to just go online, ask for advice, do a bit of research. And I'm not saying you're going to learn everything. There's some things you will only learn by experience, and that's just how life is. Like, but I think there's some basic universal things that happen to everybody. Communal spaces, navigating classes, finding jobs, managing finance. You're not going to learn everything, but you will learn a few things that will go a long way. The next thing that I wish someone told me the summer before my freshman year, and this one, you might come for me and be like, Ife, you're getting too serious. But this one is also important, and that is sit down and set your intentions. Set your intentions. This is not the same as primary and secondary, motivation that I spoke about before. When I say set your intentions, I mean have a sense of how you want to show up in this place. Like, who do you want to be? Like, one of the things I told myself, like, at least one of the things I'm still telling myself, because I wasn't thinking about any of these things in summer before my college, first year of college. I'm reminding myself that, hey, like, nobody knows me here. While that might mean a lot of things for other people, what I really mean, though, is that this is a new starting place for me. Decide or have a sense of, or think about, how do I want to show up in this space? What kind of classmate do I want to be? What type of friend do I want to be? You know what I mean? Like, and these are things you figure out as you go. But what I'm telling you now is not for you to sit down and like write a list of 10, like, how do I want to show up in this place? I want to be this kind of classmates. Yes, of course, you can do all the journaling and write about these things and reflect about it. But I think that these are things you'll learn on as you go. But it's definitely something to start thinking about the summer before your freshman year. How do you want to show up? And I think this is something I would, like, it seems like a no-brainer for me now looking back, because I'm in such an environment where at Brown, for example, I'm with students who Brown has been their parents' dream for them since they were in the mother's womb. So they come here and they are so like, they know what they know what they're doing. And I know that nobody really knows what they're doing. We're all just pretending. But there's a sense to which you can have some level of orientation, and that's what I'm talking about. In my classes, one of the things that's important to me is building relationships with my professor. So I want to be the student that's proactive in class, right? I want to be the student that thinks about helping other people. Those are intentions I've sat down over the course of this first year to say, okay, this is what I want to embody, because I have so much autonomy about how I show up in this space. You're not going to make a list of all of these things you want to be and put so much pressure on yourself, but I think it's very worthwhile to start thinking about. I also think that's something that I also don't really hear a lot of people talk about in this idea of setting intentions, is that sometimes you don't know what intentions to set if you haven't seen a model of who or like how you can show up in a space. One of the reasons why I think that I'm where I am today, and by where I am, I mean like at Brown, is that 5 years ago, I remember watching Channels TV, which is like a news channel here in Nigeria, and coming across Victory in Kabanjo and, her interview on getting into the Ivies. And she was talking about the things that she wants to do in college and like the field she wants to go into, what kind of impact she wants to make. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, she just opened this realm of possibility to me. I was like, this is so exciting. Because of that, I was so inspired, and like my intentions changed, and it led to a series of action that led me to being where I am today. Even in college, like there's a senior that I had the opportunity to be her mentee through a club. And, as we got talking, I started to learn some of the things that she's doing, how she's positioning herself at college. I was like, wow, like it just opened this new higher dimension of possibilities for me of who I could become or how I could show up, right? And so I think having people that keep you on your toes is great. It could be just someone that you happen to know that gives you a new perspective, a new orientation, a new flair to how you do things, that just shows you what is possible and says, wait, if they could do it, then maybe I can too. The last but not the least piece of advice that I wish I heard this summer before my freshman year is to explore the things that fuel me and make out time for them. I say this because personally, I remember the end of my first semester, and even my second semester, I was so tired. When exam period came, I was tired because I had been grinding the entire semester. I didn't have hobbies that fuel me up. And even if I knew them, I didn't have any pockets of time within my weekly schedule to fuel myself up by doing some of these things. And so I would say, don't leave your hobbies back home and you carry everything else in your suitcase to your university. Like, carry your hobbies with you, because you will need things that fuel you up. On that note, that is the end of this video. I do want to say though that college is very exciting. I'm just done with 1 year and I have three more to go, and for me it's been such a fulfilling experience. I've had so many ups and downs, and it's been very beautiful. I know it's exciting, but also a little bit nerve-wracking, overwhelming, scary, don't be anxious. Like, you literally don't have anything to be anxious about. I know that you're like, wait, if I shut up, what do you mean I don't have anything? I have many things to be anxious about. I hear you, I won't argue, but I do want to tell you that everything will be fine. This video is also the first video in a series that I'm starting, Summer Before College. I'm not even really sure what to phrase it, but I think I have such an interesting story around like the fact that I took 2 gap years after high school and, you know, did 2 years of A-levels and now going to college. I just think there's so much experience, wisdom, and advice that I've gathered over the last 5 years that I think is so helpful, or will be so helpful to another person. And I think it would be so bad if I kept these things to myself. If there are things you want me to talk about, share about, let me know in the comment section, because I'll be very, very happy to record these videos. On that note, I've been yapping for almost 30 minutes, so let me go and take a break. If you know anybody that's in the transition before college, send this video to them, because they will be grateful that you sent it to them. Subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss another video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.